Hi, my name is Andrew Vasher. I'm the head men's basketball coach at Hartnell College. This morning we're going to talk about improving the mental approach of our students about the game. My son was fortunate enough to play for Chris Beard when he was a D2 coach at Angelo State. Chris always emphasized when we're looking for improvement amongst our students, we need to use a 4-to-1 ratio, mental to physical, because the game is that much of a mental game. Chris, I'm sure, picked this up because he worked for Coach Knight. Coach Knight's constantly pounded for decades. 4-to-1, mental to physical, when we're looking for improvement from our team and from the individual players. Well, how do you do that? Well, first thing we do, we picked this up from Coach Beard, and we adapted it, and we've always had it. But one of the things Coach Beard does is he has a note card every day with every single player's name on it. And he wants to make a connection with that player every single day. We've been doing this since the 90s. We didn't have a note card. I still don't have a note card. But you need to find a way to do this that fits your personality. Why do we need to connect with them every day? Because unless you get to know them, you're not going to be able to make a change in their life. One of our core values in our program is add real value to people's lives, and lasting connection and engagement will take place. This needs to take place before anything else can happen if you really want to have a championship level program. First thing we do is notebooks. Early 90s, I was a high school coach, and I would drive every summer from Arizona to Nashville, Tennessee to work Coach Meyer's camps. And one of the things Coach Myers always stressed, everyone says please and thank you, everyone picks up trash, and everybody takes notes. And if you didn't have a notebook, he'd sell you one. In the notebooks, what goes in there? Where do they go? Our notebooks go everywhere. They come to practice every day. They go to every team meeting. They go to film sections. They go to team dinners. They go with us on the road. Journal notes are in there. Practice points of emphasis. Individual focus points that you have. Team focus points for the week. Team focus points for each practice. Your notes about those focus points after the practice. Individual meetings. We try to meet with our student athletes every 7 to 10 days on academics. You're going to bring your notebook for that. You're going to take notes. We're going to take notes. We're going to meet every week with our student athlete again for basketball related emphasis. What's their roles? How can they improve? What's the mental approach that you can work on? What are your focus points? We're going to watch film together. We're going to watch our film. We're going to watch practice. We're going to watch other people's films. And that leads into what one of the next things of mental approach is, film work. The film doesn't lie. We can show the effects of when you jump to the ball, we're a better defensive team. You're a better defensive player. When you're in a stance, you're a better defensive player. When you throw strikes, your teammates' shooting percentage increases. When the ball doesn't stick, we get better shots. We can show them what a good shot is. We can show when you're coming off a pick and roll. Do you go fast or do you create time for the roll man? Do you trick the tag man? And do you see what's going on? I mean, Luka Doncic has done a great job of really showing how to play a pick and roll this year in the NBA playoffs. Those are types of films. We'll watch our film. We'll watch other teams' films. We're big into watching Northwest Missouri State, Alabama Huntsville, Lipscomb University, because those schools do similar things that we do. We help use that film to teach our players, things the Warriors do. We use film to teach, emphasize points for kids to see how they're doing, how someone does it really, really well, and how to make up the time difference. Team meetings. We meet at the beginning of every week and have a big team meeting. We also have a little 10-minute meeting every day before practice. And that time before practice is we are going to tell them focus points for today's practice. And usually we have 3. It might be, we're going to really focus on stunning at the ball today. We're going to work at ball faking before we make a pass. We're going to work on high hands on every closeout. And at the end of practice, we want them to be able to go write down how they did and what they did well, what they can do better, and how that fits in the overall success of our team. At the beginning, on the team meetings, we do a thing that we'll talk about later called PDMs, and we also talk about the weekly agenda for the week and the focus points for our team for the week. And then each day in practice, we break down those individual ones for the individual practice. Individual meetings, we talked about that a little bit before. We want time invested in our student athletes. They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. It sounds corny, but it's true. And you're not going to get that caring feeling until you actually serve them. And when you get to know them, that becomes much easier and more important. John Gordon's statement, love, serve, care, it's on our pyramid. It's part of our program. You have to get to know what their hopes and dreams are, what their aspirations are, help them to find a way to meet their goals. Coaching friend Tony Engel always said, you'll always be able to achieve what you want to in life if you help others achieve what they're looking to do. And you can't do that unless you know what it is. That's what we do in those individual meetings, along with teach, build trust, and make that connection. Take notes. We take notes on everything. Coach Meyer would always say the top 15% of all the people in the world take notes. And if they're doing it, why shouldn't you? What do we take notes on? Those focus points. We write them down every day in practice. After practice, we go back before the kids leave the gym. How did you do? What did you do well? How does this fit into our success? We take notes in our meetings. We take notes on film. How did we do? How did I do? What can I do better? One thing I picked up from Sherry Cole, who's the women coach at Oklahoma, and we're going to do this year. At the end of every game, everybody, when they go in the locker room, you get a piece of paper. How do you feel right now and why? Not how did you do, not how did we do. What feeling do you have? And we want you to remember it. Those are the types of things that go in your notebook. Another thing we do is self-assessment. We're really big on self-assessment. Because if you can't honestly assess where you're at, you can never get better. This goes back to the Stockdale paradox from Jimmy Collins, Good to Great. If you know where you're at, you can devise a plan to get better. So what does that mean? Well, those focus points every single day. How did you do? What can I do to get better? What worked? How does this make better our whole team better? We want those journal entries. And we do it before we leave the gym. We want you to go back a couple hours later and rewrite it. Because sometimes in the moment, you might feel differently about it 2 hours later. Or you realize I was spot on. I'm really assessing this situation correctly. Next thing we use is analytics. I'm not necessarily a huge analytic guy, but the numbers don't lie. And we use analytics to help teach our players what we're trying to accomplish. If we want to be around 1 or right above 1, which is tops in the country, 1.1, if we want to be there points per possession, we can show them this is a wasted possession because that was a wasted shot. We want our players to understand we want to work before the shot to get the best shot by the right guy in the right situation every single possession. And we can show through analytics and film we're at a 8.5 instead of a 1.1 because of we blew 5 possessions. That someone just jacked up a shot with a hand in their face with 18 seconds to go in the shot clock. We don't want to waste possessions. Film and analytics helps doing that. Defensively, are you where you're supposed to be on box outs 90% of the time? And you can show through analytics. Well, right now you're at 60%. And they're, as an other team, is picking up an extra 7 offensive rebounds a game. What if we make it 3? That brings their total down by 4 points, which makes us below 0.9 instead of 9.7 on possessions. Analytics helps teach the student athlete to understand the game in a different way. The last thing we do, we call PDMs. We do them every Monday. Personal growth, personal develop Mondays. What we do, this is something Brett Ledbetter started from What Drives Winning. Unbelievable site. Everything's free. You can do a higher level for some money. So much good information from so many good coaches. Really helps your players understand how to improve themselves mentally, which improves their performance. Has lots of exercises for you to do as a team and individually with your players to help them develop team skills, how to interact better as a teammate, how to develop skills that's not only going to help them as a teammate and a player, but it's going to help them later as a father, as a boss, as an employee, as a husband, be a better son. These are things we do. And Brett Ledbetter, look it up. What Drives Winning? And he has a segment that just calls PDMs. And he goes through and shows you how he does them. He does a bit with Jay Wright. He goes through his season, what he did with Gonzaga men's team and with Kelly Graves, Oregon's women's teams. Unbelievable. We started doing those last year. It made a huge difference in the connection our team had with each other. Mental approach is important. As anything important is, you are what you emphasize. If you don't emphasize it, it really isn't important to you. Can I measure it? And is it emphasized? These are the things we use: notebooks, film work, team meetings, individual meetings. We want our kids taking notes all the time. We want them to learn strong self-assessment skills. We use analytics and PDMs, Professional Growth Mondays. If this is something you want to learn more about, Vasher, Avasher, at Hartnell, HARTNELL.edu. Love to talk to you more. Hope we can help you. Again, basketball is a wonderful game, but if we don't have a larger point to our program, we're missing the opportunity to impact our kids' lives and our community lives. Thanks. Go Panthers.